Good morning. My name's Josiah, and this is Turning Dirt and Wrenches. And today we're going to be cleaning some corn seed, getting ready for planting. We're going to be using this old Clipper seed cleaner. And I don't know exactly how old this is, but it's pretty old. All made out of wood with a little bit of sheet metal. Hopefully the light is good enough in here. It's not going to be the best, but it's the best we got right now. So anyway, how these work, put your seed up here, and it's kind of like a combine, except you don't thresh anything. Just the seed goes in the hopper, comes out here, and now normally you would have another screen on top here, but I have it taken out because the majority of what I'm cleaning is smaller than my seed. So as you can see, seed ends up getting stuck in this screen. So I just take this little piece of wood while it's running and just keep scraping it just to make sure the screen's clear. So your seed goes in there, drops out there, and if you had another screen on top, that would be to take anything bigger than your seed out. And it would make its way here and fall into this tray and fall out. But since we don't have that, the seed just falls right down on here and comes right along the top of this screen and goes down in there. It's kind of hard to see, but basically with the fan right here, you've got airflow coming up through here and coming out here. So as that seed falls off that screen, it falls down through the airflow. So anything that's real light, like a piece of corn cob or corn stalk or something, it's going to get blown out, but the seed can fall down and it falls down here into this bin in the bottom. And that's your clean seed. Now anything that's smaller than the seed that falls through this screen, that falls down into the bottom of this, which comes out right here and shakes it out. And of course we're going to have a bucket there. Of course we've already spilled a little bit. And that'll be for the chickens. So this is what you start with. See, there's a lot of little pieces of stalk and there's some broken kernels. It was maybe just a tad too wet. And this is what we end up with. I'm also sizing it. That screen is a 3/8 inch screen. So only the biggest kernels get to be seed for next year. We got some red in there. I'm not too worried about it as long as most of it's yellow. The elevator said they take it, so. And then you can see what we're taking out. That's all smaller stuff. See that broken piece, another broken piece. And some of that would be okay seed, but I just want the biggest seed possible. Give that little baby plant the most energy it can get. There's some weed seed. Now you might be wondering, why would you want to go through all this trouble of cleaning seed? And I mean, I've had to store it all winter and keep the rodents out and everything, and it seems like an awful lot of trouble when you just go buy some. And that's a good question. Basically, if you have a small farm in the US today and you're trying to farm conventionally, it's very, very hard to make it work because the profit margin is so slim. So I either need to make my little farm profitable in innovative ways, or I need to quit wasting so much time on this and, you know, go do something else. So any way that I can save money and take some lessons from the past, then I'm going to do it. I mean, basically, this seed corn, this is open pollinated corn from greenhaven.com. And this corn, you could say the seed only costs $4 a bushel, because that's what I would have got if I'd taken it to the elevator. And you have an added benefit of saving your own seed. I've seen that with wheat. It's not just the economic benefit. I've had an heirloom wheat for 3 years now, just an acre of it. And we use that to make bread and feed the rest of the chickens. Well, when I first got it, it did terrible. I planted 3 bushel an acre and I got 5 bushel. And the guy I got it from said, just be patient and keep saving your seed and give it a chance. And it'll get acclimated to your soil, which is something nobody talks about anymore. But, you know, 3 years later, it's doubled every year. So, you know, I'm kind of excited to see what it does this year. Does that trend just keep continuing? And there's no fertilizer or anything on that. It's just grown with other plants, you know, clover and whatnot. And so it is, you know, nature grows without all that stuff. And that's the system I'm trying to mimic. Because if you cut all the costs down as much as possible, like your inputs and everything, and seed, you know, a small farm can become worth your time. You know, I can make $30 an hour at my day job, so I might as well be doing that if the farming can't match that or exceed it. But with the system I've got, it's got the potential to. I've really gotten into the regenerative agriculture. I think there's a lot of wisdom there. And it's just what I've always thought should be possible, is we should be able to grow stuff like nature. I mean, the roadsides, you got to mow them all the time. They grow great. They're all nice and dark green. And I think just the previous system I was using was just not viable, at least not for me. So anytime I can take control of my input cost that just makes total sense from a business perspective. And this is a big thing. I mean, this was very common, a seed cleaner on farms 100 years ago. Everybody had them. And it's because you were saving your own seed. And then you got your own variety that's acclimated to your soil. And, you know, the question is, does the yield increase ever stop? If you keep saving the seed, you save the seeds that do well, and you know, get rid of the ones that don't, and just constantly keep improving. You look at what corn came from, you know, down in the from the Aztecs and whatnot, and it's been improved immensely. So I think just continue that trend and have complete control over my seed, and also a lot of control. Pretty much the only variable cost that I have now is the parts and the fuel. Everything else, you know, I can control the cost of, because it's, you know, the seed is mine, and I'm using the energy that the plants collect to grow my crops instead of importing, or, you know, artificial energy. So that's the reason that I'm doing all this. It seems like a lot of extra work, but when you figure, you know, how many hours of work, whether farming or otherwise, it takes to earn the money to buy the seed, you're like, wow, I'm actually coming out, you know, way ahead to spend a few hours doing this as opposed to buying it. But you've got to be pretty adventurous to try this, and I've got the opportunity where my landlord is all for this, so we're going to give it a try and see what we can do. But yeah, being able to control your cost is very important on a small farm, for sure. On a big farm too. I mean, if you scaled this up, I wouldn't change anything. I would probably get a bigger seed cleaner, but I really wouldn't change any of those philosophies, because I think they're sound business philosophies. So that's the reason. I guess we'll see how this goes.